Kept you waiting, huh? Hell, it's about time. Did you miss me? Yes, I'm back and ready to voice some more awesome gaming videos for you guys. Now, let's get going, shall we? Whether you love them or hate them, QuickTime events have been a staple in gaming for many years now. It gives developers the opportunity to do something spectacular, even if that means they have to take away control from the player. However, some QuickTime events are just plain ridiculous. Get ready for the 10 most absurd QuickTime events in gaming.
Help! Please! Someone! I'm going to die!
SpiderMan forgetting how to be Spider-Man is one of the funniest things in gaming. SpiderMan 3 has many QuickTime events that are completely fine when you manage to press the buttons at the right time. However, these same QuickTime events become hilarious when you fail them. It may be a crappy game, but you have to respect the developers for taking the time to add in a separate fail state for every QuickTime event. We can't help but laugh at the sight of Spider-Man simply giving up and flopping onto the ground like a wet towel. We really liked Call of Duty Advanced Warfare when it came out. It had a pretty decent campaign and gave us futuristic warfare without going full-on into sci-fi. However, it also has one of the most ridiculous QuickTime events in the whole Call of Duty series. Turning paying respects at a funeral into a QuickTime event was a big mistake by the developers. Seeing that button prompt made the whole thing kind of ridiculous. Now let's all press F together and pay our respects for one of the weirdest QuickTime events in gaming. Remember when everybody was copying the wirework fighting from movies like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and The Matrix? Developer David Cage must have really liked the over-the-top kung fu at the time because he put it into his game. Fahrenheit, or Indigo Prophecy as it's called in the States, has one of the funniest fight scenes in gaming. This QuickTime event also looks just ridiculous as the characters fly around the screen and slap each other in the face. It's also kind of weird how this adventure game suddenly turns into a bad episode of Dragon Ball Z. One moment you're cleaning a bathroom with a mop, and the next moment you're flicking sticks around like a maniac. This is one of the most bizarre fight scenes we've ever played in a video game.
I believe the Bureau still can't get me a satellite phone.
Deadly Premonition is the definition of a bad game that's actually incredibly fun to play. We had so many good times with Detective Francis York Morgan during his bizarre adventure in this cult classic. It also has one of the most absurd QuickTime events in gaming. During one scene, the player's asked to press a button to look with interest at a cup of freshly brewed coffee.
Did you see that, Zach? Clear as a crisp spring morning. F.K. in the coffee.
The whole scene is so bizarre and perfectly captures the Twin Peaks vibe it's going for. It's actually a very important plot point that drives the story forward. Now, that's some good coffee staring right there. Ace Combat Assault Horizon is a pretty great arcade flying game about supersonic fighter jets. The game has a very deep storyline about a civil war in an African country. This all leads to a final epic scene where you have to shoot down a Russian jet carrying nukes. The heroic ending that follows has one of the most absurd quick-time events in gaming. You're asked to jam on the triangle button to pump your fist into the air. It actually has a fail state where you simply don't fist pump. But who the hell would do that?
Hey, champ! What's your name?
Jason,
Which balloon would you like, Jason?
the red one.
Here you go.
Heavy Rain is another game by the developer David Cage that's full of QuickTime events. Some of them are great and some of them are completely insane. However, nothing beats Press X to Jason when it comes to absurd QuickTime events. There you are, running around in a mall just screaming Jason over and over again.
Jason! Jason! Jason!
The internet ran with it, and it didn't take long before the dramatic scene became famous for all the wrong reasons.
Jason! Jason! Watch it!
The Resident Evil series is full of crazy QuickTime events. The most famous one can be found in Resident Evil 5. At some point, Chris Redfield is trying to move a boulder. You start off by simply pushing it away with all your strength. However, things get downright ridiculous when Chris starts punching the boulder. This has to be one of the manliest scenes in gaming. Here you have a man that simply punches a huge rock until it moves out of his way. Chris Redfield versus a giant rock is our favorite fight scene in the history of Resident Evil. Batman is our favorite superhero because he's still somewhat grounded in reality. He uses his wits and high-tech gadgets to beat his enemies. That's also why we love the Batman Arkham series. They get the character and universe just right. However, the shark attack scene in Batman Arkham City feels so out of place. There's a huge white shark that attacks you out of nowhere while you're on a raft. The QuickTime event wants you to press X to punch the shark in the face. We never thought developer Rocksteady would turn The Dark Knight into a Chuck Norris joke.
I don't have time for this. Get lost.
That's it, you're history!
Shenmue is patient zero of the QuickTime event phenomenon. This Sega game from 1999 invented the gameplay mechanic so many gamers hate. There are a lot of moments in this game where you have to press buttons to do awesome stuff. Things like kicking a football into a bad guy's face, or very casually beating up a group of Chinese gangsters. Like most QuickTime events, they get even funnier when you fail them. Watching the hero getting punched in the face never gets old.
Oh, what'd I do? Oops, I'm out of here.
That's because I get aroused when I slap people. That's for all the furry midgets in the world. That's because I feel like it. Why?
Talking about heroes that get punched in the face, we have to mention Deadpool. This game has a very famous QuickTime event where you get to slap Wolverine around. You literally have to press a button to slap him in the face, and this can go on for a very long time.
Oh, Wolvie, time to wake up. Rise and shine, Stubby. Wake up. Up and at
You really have to admire the developers for recording so many lines of dialogue for this scene. We completely understand if you buy this game for the sole purpose of slapping Wolverine around.
it. And finally, that's because the whole setup just added 5 minutes of bonus play to the most awesome game ever devised by mutant or man. I guess he's not waking up.
Curious.
Here you have it, 10 completely absurd QuickTime events in gaming. Do you know any other examples of crazy QuickTime events? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.